copies, but we can still go through the material.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry I'm so late. My name is Joanna Connor. I'm the Director of Neighborhood Development for the University of Chicago, also South Shore resident. I was really excited when the Alderman asked me to participate in this panel discussion that we had a few months ago, and then to come back and kind of launch the discussion tonight about what's really possible for 79th Street. We organized this group in December of last year, and I think we were all incredibly impressed with the interest and the turnout in terms of experts in their field, whether it's finance, development, property owners in the community, business owners as well, that all came out to really brainstorm about what's possible on 79th, and I think many saw great potential in what we can do here. So I just wanted to talk quickly about what we did that day, and then we have a group of folks who are involved that will report out on what came out of that process. So, of course, we toured the site. We really heard about development plans either in process now or in the works. And the group really looked at kind of where do we start on 79th Street. So we had a couple of key questions that were posed to us as a group of experts. One is really thinking about this being a traditional neighborhood corridor, but what does that mean in today's climate with retail? Like, you're competing with retail districts across the city, people are shopping more online, so what does 79th Street look like today in that context? We thought about, how do you position 79th Street? What's the potential for retail, industrial, and even housing uses along the corridor? We talked about where the highest priorities are. This is a long corridor, it's got great access, but you got to start somewhere and you can't do everything at once. So where are the priority areas where you start to think about development? And then really what models are out there? Who's doing this well in other communities in Chicago? We took some time to think about that as well. How do we prepare 79th Street for new development? So what kind of infrastructure improvements, et cetera, should we be thinking about as we think about improving the area and attracting new development? And then in terms of capacity building and governance in the community, how do we help to build the capacity so that the folks working with our business owners know how to do that, are attracting new businesses, are providing the support necessary to make and help them thrive, are marketing them out to the community and to the broader geography and market in general. And then we really just drill down on what can we accomplish in the next 1 to 2 years, what can we do in 3 to 5, and then what's more long term. So we have some ideas that we'll present tonight. I'm going to hand it over to Scott to kind of walk us through those. But I think what was interesting is we all broke out into different groups in that meeting based on our skill sets and our knowledge. And then we reported out, and just amazing to see the consistency across the groups in terms of where we start, what's most important, what are the priorities, and what are the opportunities. So Scott, well, Steve,
Okay, thanks,
get
Joanna.
everybody introduce themselves.
And it's great to see the turnout here. In order to do good planning, you need great community engagement. And so this is just one step of a much larger process. So we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts after the panel speaks. But one of the questions that we were looking at this roundtable was, what does urban retail corridor look like today? And Alderman Holmes introduced the next session that way. We went 79th Street, and a lot of us in the room can remember 79th Street being one of the vital corridors in the entire Chicago region. That was when a lot of people maybe didn't have cars, walked to the store, the retailers were very small, and it was a different sort of situation than we have today. So how do we reinvent corridors? We don't want to create a suburban situation on 79th Street. You've got a great context here. You've got great buildings. It's just a beautiful corridor. And yet we need some tenants to move those back in. So how do we think of a retail corridor in a new way? And I think Alderman Holmes is right. You go to these conferences and they want to kind of shoe you into a certain model. In Chicago, we've got to create a model that works for our neighborhoods based on strengths. So when you look at 79th Street in particular, in the context of the South Shore, one of the basic questions is it a good corridor to focus on? And from all the people there, we thought, yes, 79th Street, there's a lot of options here. Not to say that there shouldn't be work done on other corridors as well, whether it's Stony or 87th or other streets. But 79th Street is an important gateway. It has good traffic counts, which is important for retailers, and it's going to connect to Lakeside. It's going to have a lot more development in the future. That's a very long-term plan for Lakeside. how do these two things fit together is very important. And we didn't think they could fit at all. Once there's more traffic from Lakeside, that's going to drive some need for smaller infill situations like 79th Street, so they're very complementary. But another thing we have to do is be realistic, because demand is so different. When we do get in our cars to go shopping, people do go other areas. They go to Roosevelt Road, right? They go up and down Stony. They might go to the north side of Chicago. They might go to the suburbs. So what are the particular types of uses? In culture, entertainment, restaurants, those are the types of uses that typically do well in an urban core. Also some small shopping and those types of things, but things are different maybe than they were in the past, and we need to recognize that. So one of the things is to say maybe there really should be nodes along the corridor and allow residential between those nodes. And the more people that move into the area, that helps reinforce. That means more customers to the restaurants, right? With the theater, once that's renovated, that will bring more people to the area, but also additional housing also brings people to the area. So starting to think about this not as a uniform that's going to be the same thing all the way up and down 79th Street, but different types of nodes, different types of destinations. And we also, is in the context of the entire south side of Chicago. So there's people in other neighborhoods, if you come into 79th Street, if there's attractions like the Beach, Folk District, restaurants, and they'll be going, certainly be going to Lakeside as that gets developed. So, as Alderman Holmes mentioned, cultural district, Stony, 79, makes a lot of sense anchored by the Legal Theater. Over by Exchange, you've got a Metro station there with pretty high ridership. You have a number of retailers already there, so how do you build that up in a convenience node for the people who live in that area? You know, when young people move to an area, maybe they're coming back here after living somewhere else, and they want to know, can they ride their bike? Things are different than the past. They're not necessarily want to drive every place. And people coming back with want to get people in the 20s or 30s moving back into the area. And some of those convenience retailers are very important. And then, of course, in the east, you've got Lakeside. That will be larger stores and other destinations and more housing as well. So looking at a model, there have been a lot of successful corridors in Chicago, but again, I don't know if there's one particular street that's just like 79th Street. So we advise you to invent your own model as long as it's market-based. And that's why there's some private market people trying to tonight comment on what tenants are looking for, what are the demographics. As Alderman Holmes said, sometimes we have to tell our story a little bit better. Because if you just look at the national data set and everything's done in averages, it doesn't really talk about the nuances of South Shore. And so, we've been working in other corridors in terms of trying to tell the story better so that you're visually able to show how that corridor relates to different things and different comparisons in terms of the city. And so you're able to take control of your numbers to tell the story you want to tell. Because you're not going to have a lot of time, right? When you talk to a tenant, maybe you only get 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe it's email, so you have to tell your story very quickly. In terms of infrastructure, like I said before, especially younger folks moving back, they want to see bike friendly. They want to see nice sidewalks. They want to see sidewalk cafes, the kinds of infrastructure that you think about what areas do you go to, what do they have, and you should really have the same amenities here. There's no reason why you can't have attractive lighting, street furniture, and other things. It's going to take some time to get that in place, but people really expect those amenities to be here. So we did come up with some initial short, medium, and long-term goals, but it would be better to hear from all of you in terms of what you think about it. But certainly an engagement process, maybe started with a corridor plan. Started looking at what is the market, what is the transportation needs, what are the retail needs, what are the housing needs along this corridor. And then in the mid-range, you can look at branding and identity and marketing in the corridor, right? Some of those improvements, the sidewalk improvements, maybe this needs to be some zoning tweaks and those kinds of things. And the long term is going to be working with Lakeside on bigger infrastructure issues and more costly items. So there's a lot of potential here. We're excited about it, and it's great to see all of you here tonight who are engaged and want to see improvements made.
Just to really quickly add to Scott's point, I think you all have a survey in your hand. A lot of the things that we were looking at were really observational. What we think the market could attract here, but I think what's more important is what are you doing now? Where do you go now outside of your community in terms of shopping? Where are you driving by
before we get to our representatives from CDRU, actually, they lease for the property at 95th and Stony, so they are familiar with the 95th Street corridor there. You know, one of the things that I always say, there's a $400 million retail gap in our community. That means $400 million leaves this community every day. And, you know, that means that there's money in this community. But we're going other places because we don't have the types of things that we want in our neighborhood. We're going to go get what we want to get because we have great transit access and we have cars. So it's easy for us to, you know, take that leap and go someplace else to get what it is that you want. And so, like, a part of this conversation, a part of the survey is so that we have better numbers. Like I said, I went back and did my homework, and the numbers that the city put together for me, I would never present that to anyone. So I had to go in and delve a little bit deeper to make sure that we're presenting the right image. And it is about image. A lot of it is about image. And so we are in a position to change that image. And so why I invited CBRE is because, you know, they are familiar with 95th Street. But I think that, you know, there's an opportunity to kind of address some of the misinformation about, you know, what it takes to really attract a tenant and bring them on, and what are some of the, you know, issues that, you know, tenants or, you know, owners of property, you know, look at when they want to locate. So I'll just turn it over to you guys.
I represent, like I said, I'm the general manager of 950
Can you speak up?
Yeah, I have my voice is low, so don't think I'm yelling. I apologize. I'm not used to public speaking and a little nervous, so if I start to talk too fast, wave or something. But we're the landlord for 95th and Stony Island. As the alderman mentioned, it's a few miles from this development, but we represent about 22 tenants. There's a variety of tenants in our center, ranging from small 1,000 square foot stores to a large grocery store, 70,000 square feet, and a variety of tenants in between. So as the landlord, what we focus on from a management perspective is really to try to get to know each tenant's representative. Sometimes it's the business owner that's actually at the center. Sometimes it's the representative of that firm. And we try to develop a relationship so we understand what their needs are once they sign that lease. Once they sign that lease and they become the tenant, we want to understand what's important to them. You know, is it important to them that it's easy to get to the center, that there's security, that the lighting is proper, that they have, maybe they have special needs, special requirements. You know, maybe they request additional parking right in front of their store so that their client base can access their store easily. So, you know, really it's developing that one-on-one rapport as the landlord, you know, stopping and seeing the tenants, but then it's learning their business and, you know, from a management perspective, it's really trying to meet their needs. Because if a company moves in and we can meet their needs, if we can help them succeed and they grow, they're going to stay at the center. And ultimately, that's our goal, because they're going to stay, you know, in the community. They're going to keep growing. They're going to keep bringing customers in, and they're going to stay at our center. So I'm probably, you know, the most naive on the panel as far as development. I'm not involved in development, but you know, from a day-to-day perspective, our team, I have some of our team members here. You know, we try to learn. We don't look at every tenant the same. We look at each tenant, how we can work with them, as opposed to just having a landlord-tenant